This evening, first up, a 65-year-old Cuban man attempting to cross the Demerara River Bridge access road is struck and killed, setting off a chain reaction crash involving 3 vehicles during the Wednesday morning commute. All 3 drivers are in custody as investigators piece together how it unfolded. Also, Guyana is not budging. President Ali dismisses Suriname's claim that it will build the Corentyne River Bridge alone, making clear that no official proposal has reached his desk and the joint agreement stands. The diplomatic standoff deepens. Then, a Georgetown businessman caught in the act, allegedly handing over cash to have a man kidnapped, was intercepted mid-payment in an intelligence-led police operation. Who was the target and what was the motive? Those answers are still to come. Meanwhile, loud music at all hours, mountains of illegally dumped garbage, and workplace safety laws decades out of date. The Attorney General announces a sweeping package of reforms aimed at cleaning up daily life and protecting workers in Guyana's booming economy. And the United Nations releases its first global scientific assessment of artificial intelligence. And the conclusion is blunt. The technology is moving faster than anyone's ability to control it. Those stories and more coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for June 2nd, 2026. I'm Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, a morning commute on the Demerara River Bridge turned fatal on Wednesday when a 65-year-old Cuban national was struck by a vehicle while attempting to cross the access road, triggering a chain reaction collision involving 3 cars. Gerardo Machado Valdivia of Providence, East Bank, Demerara, was attempting to cross the Demerara River Bridge access road from south to north at approximately 6:42 a.m. on July 1st when he was struck by motorcar PAG 6631 driven by a 22-year-old male of Hague Front, West Coast, Demerara. According to initial investigations, the driver applied the brakes and swerved to avoid Valdivia, but the vehicle's right front portion still made contact. The impact flung Valdivia into the southern carriageway, where he sustained severe head injuries and injuries to his body. The collision caused the driver to lose control of the vehicle, which struck the concrete median, spun, and ended up on the northern carriageway, where it collided with 2 oncoming vehicles, motorcar PAM 2461 driven by a 28-year-old female of Register Z and motor hire car HC 723 driven by a 54-year-old male of Underneming, both of West Bank, Demerara. Emergency medical technicians responded to the scene, where Valdivia was examined and pronounced dead. His body was taken to the Memorial Gardens Funeral Home mortuary, awaiting post-mortem examination. Breathalyzer tests conducted on all drivers returned no trace of alcohol. All 3 drivers were currently in police custody, assisting with the ongoing investigation. Now let's turn our attention to a brewing diplomatic showdown. Guyana is not budging. President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali has firmly reasserted that the proposed Corentyne River Bridge remains a joint project between Guyana and Suriname, dismissing any suggestion that either country would go at it alone. Speaking to reporters on Wednesday on the sidelines of the swearing-in ceremony of 6 judges, President Ali made his position crystal clear. The bridge is being discussed and developed jointly, and that position has not changed. The remarks come in direct response to a declaration made in Suriname's National Assembly by Public Works Minister Stephen Tsang, who announced that his government had decided to finance the bridge entirely on its own. That announcement caught Guyana off guard and raised questions about the future of the bilateral agreement. President Ali, however, was unmoved, stating that no official alternative proposal has been presented to him and that the Surinamese government has formally communicated no change in position. He made clear that if such a request were ever made, he would respond to it directly and decisively. The bridge, which is expected to span the Corentyne River linking Guyana and Suriname, is planned under a design, build, finance, operate, and maintain model through a public-private partnership agreement, meaning the successful contractor would be responsible for the project from construction through to long-term maintenance. President Ali was also asked about charges introduced by Suriname for the use of the Corentyne River, a matter Guyana formally protested in March over concerns about disruptions to trade and economic activity. The president said he had received no recent complaints from river users about ongoing challenges related to those charges. The Corentyne River Bridge saga continues to unfold, with Guyana holding firm to the Joint Development Framework while awaiting an official response from Paramaribo. Now, on to a troubling story still developing. A Georgetown businessman is behind bars after allegedly handing over cash to arrange the kidnapping of another man, caught in the act during an intelligence-led police operation. The 36-year-old businessman of Alexander Village, Georgetown, was arrested on Tuesday, June 30th, after police, acting on information received, conducted a targeted operation that intercepted him in the alleged act of making arrangements and paying a quantity of cash as part payment to have a male kidnapped. The cash was seized and lodged as evidence, and the suspect was placed into custody. He now faces charges of attempting to commit kidnapping. The arrest was confirmed by the Guyana Police Force on Wednesday, with investigators describing the operation as intelligence-led, suggesting authorities had been monitoring the alleged plot before moving in. The identity of the intended victim and the motive behind the alleged kidnapping plot have not been disclosed as investigations remain ongoing. The questions that remain are significant. Who was the intended target? What grievance or motive drove a businessman to allegedly cross one of the most serious criminal lines there is? And who else, if anyone, was involved? Stick around when we return. Loud music, littering, and unsafe work sites. Government moving to tackle them all with new laws. And Ghana races to load relief vessels for earthquake-devastated Venezuela.
From every region, Guyana is coming together. One Guyana worship experience. Featuring award-winning gospel artist, Sinach. Grammy award-winning worship leader, Naomi Rain. Also featuring Positive,
rolling in my two-man army, my Jesus and I.
Samuel Midas, Timothy Roberts,
the name of Jesus is higher than every name.
Renwick Dewsbury,
No more detours, I move according to purpose. No more detours, not this time.
Faith Korika Ned, Solid Youth, and many more. But passes must be secured through your local church and designated distribution locations across the country. July 6th, Guyana National Stadium. One nation, one voice, one Guyana worship experience. Sponsored by the Government of Guyana.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
GCOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing July 1, 2026 to produce an official list of electors, OLE. If you will be 18 years or older by June 30, 2026, and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all the registration divisions divisions across Guyana for you to check whether you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. If you have changed your address since you were registered, you need to visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your new area of residence to apply for a transfer. Tuesday, July 14, 2026 is the last day you can apply for a transfer during this exercise. For more information, contact the GCOM on 2250-278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Blaring music at all hours, overflowing garbage, and dangerously outdated workplace safety rules are all in the government's crosshairs as Attorney General Anil Nandlall announced a sweeping package of legislative reforms set to modernize Ghana's legal framework on multiple fronts. Speaking on his weekly podcast, Issues in the News, the Attorney General said the government is preparing a comprehensive set of legislative amendments to address noise nuisance, indecent and vulgar music, littering, and illegal dumping of large volumes of garbage. Issues, he said, that have long been sources of public frustration, but lacked the adequate legal teeth to address effectively. The reforms form part of a broader legislative agenda aimed at improving public order and quality of life for all Guyanese. Beyond public nuisance, Nandlall revealed that the government is also undertaking a long overdue overhaul of Ghana's occupational health and safety laws, a framework he described as decades old and wholly inadequate for the country's rapidly expanding economy. The Attorney General pointed specifically to the construction and oil and gas sectors, where the scale and complexity of modern projects have far outpaced the protections currently on the books. Major infrastructure developments such as the Demerara River Bridge and emergence of the oil and gas industry have fundamentally changed Ghana's workplaces, and the AG said making stronger, more contemporary legislation is essential to protect workers, employers, contractors, and the public. Minister of Labour and Manpower Planning, Kiyomo Griffith, will lead occupational health and safety reform initiatives with technical and legal support from the Attorney General's chambers and the Parliamentary Drafting Division. Both reform packages are currently in development, with the government signaling that they form part of an extended legislative agenda expected to be introduced in the near future. On a different note, a massive relief vessel is on track to depart for earthquake-devastated Venezuela, with President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali confirming on Wednesday that the shipment could be loaded and on its way by this weekend. The vessel, capable of carrying 8,000 tons, will transport close to 100 containers of humanitarian supplies, including pharmaceutical support, medical supplies, food for children and families, sanitation items, recovery equipment, and essential aid to a country still reeling from the deadliest natural disaster in its modern history. Over 2,200 people have been killed and more than 11,000 persons were injured following the back-to-back 7.2 and 7.5 magnitude earthquakes that struck Venezuela last week. President Ali made the announcement while speaking to reporters on the sidelines of an event, noting that CARICOM member states are also contributing to the shipment, which is being coordinated through Guyana. Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips has been tasked with leading and coordinating all aspects of the national response. A multi-agency structure has been established, bringing together the Civil Defense Commission, the Ghana Defense Force, and the Ghana Police Force, private sector organizations, and other partners to manage the effort. Donations are currently being received, sorted, and loaded for shipment at the Muslim Youth Organization facility on Wolford Avenue in Georgetown, operating with support from the CDC and GDF. Beyond supplies, Guyana has also offered logistical and recovery support, including the potential deployment of teams on the ground in Venezuela to assist with relief operations. The mobilization reflects Ghana's commitment to standing by its neighbor in one of the most challenging moments Venezuela has faced in living memory. Don't go away after the break. China's Robo taxis expand as taxi drivers fear AI will replace their jobs. And aid agencies warn of health crisis after Venezuela earthquakes displace millions.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
From every region, Guyana is coming together. One Guyana worship experience. Featuring award-winning gospel artist, Sinaj. Grammy award-winning worship leader, Naomi Rain. Also featuring Positive.
Rolling in my two-man army. My Jesus and I.
Samuel Mias.
Time I checked. My wings are better and my thoughts are higher than yours.
Timothy Roberts.
The name of Jesus is higher than every name.
Renwick Juicery.
No more detours. I move according to purpose. No more detours. Not this time.
Faith Korika Ned. Solid Youth, and many more. But passes must be secured through your local church and designated distribution locations across the country. July 6, Guyana National Stadium. One nation, one voice, one Guyana worship experience. Sponsored by the Government of Guyana.
GCOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing July 1, 2026 to produce an official list of electors, OLE, if you will be 18 years or older by June 30, 2026, and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check whether you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can make a claim for registration, change, correction to your particulars, or you can object to the inclusion of anyone whom you believe should not be on the list. If you are desirous of making a claim or objection, you must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to do so. Visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to conduct any of the above transactions. All GCOM registration offices will open Monday to Friday from 8 to 18 hours, Saturday, Sunday and holidays from 10 to 14 hours. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Kittens tonight. Incoming CARICOM chair Philip Pierre pledges to put Caribbean people first. Venezuela's quake hit. Hospitals buckle under pressure as survivors slams the government's response. China's Robo taxi boom threatens taxi drivers' livelihoods. And UN warns AI is moving faster than the world can control it. We will begin in the Caribbean. CARICOM's new chairman, Philip J. Pierre, has pledged to place Caribbean citizens at the center of regional integration agenda after assuming leadership of the bloc this week. Pierre said integration must be felt in the daily lives of ordinary people across the region. His priorities include climate action, food security, digital transformation, economic growth, and improved mobility of people across member states. Hospitals across Venezuela in the earthquake-affected regions are operating beyond capacity after sustaining damages. Some survivors accuse the government of responding too slowly, saying meaningful assistance only arrived after international aid efforts began. Al Jazeera Tirisabo reports.
A golf course turned into a military and humanitarian center for those who have lost everything. It's here where international NGOs have partnered with the Venezuelan government to provide much-needed help.
Mobile medical unit.
Adi Fletcher says healthcare is a major concern.
Injuries in particular, I think that chronic health conditions are also a primary concern, especially given that there's a disruption in supply chains at the moment, unavailability of medicines, so being able to treat those patients, and of course primary health care.
Members of the Venezuelan military are also assisting. They say international aid will be crucial in the months ahead.
It's important that we can have assistance from different places. It's a heroic measure, and we're trying to help with what we have.
Millions have been affected by the devastating earthquakes. Many are coming here because they have nowhere to go back to. People are in desperate need and know the situation will become increasingly difficult in the months ahead. Frisar Gonzalez has lost all of his belongings. He's camping here with his family. He says the government of Delcy Rodriguez has failed.
When the earthquake happened, there was nothing. Only when the international help, they started to come out. We were on our own. This government is done. They have to go. They have taken us to misery.
Many here feel the same way, frustrated by what they say is the lack of government support. But for now, the immediate concern is helping people cope with the aftermath.
Humanitarian workers are extremely concerned about the possibility of an outbreak, as there's been reports of diarrhea and other diseases. That's why they're requesting portable toilets. And they also want authorities to organize places like this one to prevent overcrowding and the spread of disease.
Hospitals around the region have also been damaged and yet are now at full capacity.
The hospitals have collapsed, and where I come from, it's not even in La Guaira, which could be justified. I came because I wanted to help, but the organization here has not been good.
In a country already burdened by years of hardship, the earthquakes have left many with one more loss to carry. Lives forever changed, millions of people forced to begin again. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera, La Guaira, Venezuela.
China's robotaxi industry is expanding in more cities, raising fears among taxi drivers that automated vehicles could eventually replace their livelihoods. Al Jazeera's Corentyne River reports.
For 2 decades, Yang Jinping has driven a taxi around the southern Chinese city of Shenzhen. He's weathered major changes in the sector, including the region's transition to electric taxis and the widespread adoption of ride-hailing apps, which have pushed down fares.
20 years ago, if you drove a taxi, you could support your entire family, including your wife and the children. Nowadays, business is poor and my income is barely enough to support myself.
Now there's another threat to his livelihood. Authorities are expanding commercial trials of driverless or so-called Robo taxis, controlled autonomously using artificial intelligence. So far, they operate only in approved areas, but they've attracted passengers. Robo taxis are about 30% cheaper than traditional taxis. It's a little unnerving riding a taxi without a driver. Now, if you're the only passenger, you may feel like you're completely alone, but that's not exactly true. There are at least 2 cameras, one positioned right here and another above the dashboard, connected to a control room where someone is watching you at all times. And if they see you're doing anything unsafe, they'll warn you through the speaker, or they can even pull over the car and stop it. Despite years of testing, the technology doesn't always run smoothly. Earlier this year, a system failure left several robotaxis stranded across the central Chinese city of Wuhan. No one was injured, but the incident raised questions about the reliability of autonomous transport. Companies behind the technology say robotaxis aren't meant to replace human drivers overnight, but complement existing transport networks. Yang Jinping isn't convinced. He believes in a few years, driverless taxis will become mainstream. At age 60, he says he'll probably retire before that. But his advice to younger taxi drivers? find another job. Katrina Yu, Al Jazeera, Shenzhen, China.
The United Nations has released the first global scientific assessment of artificial intelligence. Its message? That technology is moving faster than anyone's ability to control it. Al Jazeera's Gabriel Elizondo reports.
It's the first ever report of its kind, a scientific health check on artificial intelligence, written by 40 independent scientists appointed by the UN. Its warning to governments is blunt.
The more AI advances without shared rules, the less say governments and people will have in the outcome. So my message to governments is simple: do not wait.
But the report stops short of saying what kind of action government should take to manage AI, and that's by design.
The goal is not to make recommendations, but to ensure policy decisions are informed by the highest standards of scientific integrity, regardless of external pressures and preferences.
Despite the report making no policy recommendations, panel co-chair Maria Ressa said there are takeaways.
3 headlines. Pace is not slowing, the power is concentrating, and control is not guaranteed.
On pace, the panel says AI's capabilities are growing faster than the science to understand them. And it warns there is no scientific guarantee the most advanced systems won't one day cause catastrophic harm. And then there is the power concentrated in a handful of countries. And look at this. Of the computing power in the world's top 500 AI supercomputers, the report cited evidence that most is located in just a few countries: the United States, China, and everywhere else. The gap between the few who build AI and the potential consequences for everyone else is what the panel wants governments to confront.
The conversation now moves to Geneva, where next week the UN will convene the first ever global dialogue on AI governance. It's there countries will come together to decide if the AI facts laid out in this report can translate into a global response. Gabriel Zondo, Al Jazeera at the United Nations in New York.
Thanks, Dominique. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's it to be 2 headline news for this Thursday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for rebroadcasts and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.